Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarLimited.com podcast presented by Moose's LZ Bar and Grill in Jonestown, PA. Great food at a great price. I'm Jeremy Elliott, joined by Ryan Hand, a winner again, Ryan Hand, both in the picks and on the racetrack.
Lucky. Sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah. Oh, in the picks, yeah.
I mean, no, I don't mean in the picks. I mean on the racetrack. Yeah.
I think in the picks you were very lucky this week when Corey Day finishes 24th and is out on lap 3.
Well, Corey Day did dumb things.
He did do dumb things.
Corey Day doesn't do dumb things very often, but that was not smart for as good as Corey's car's been here lately. That was an 18-year-old maneuver. An 18-year-old's maneuver there. And he doesn't race like that typically. No, he doesn't race. He races very hard, but he put himself in a bad position 3 laps into the race for $100,000 that I felt like where he was starting, he had the best chance to win that race.
Oh, no doubt about it. But we'll get into it. We're going to start.
We'll get into that.
Yep, we're going to start with the Gadget Nationals because we have some ground to cover, some big winners this week, and you know one of them. Oh, yeah. So Gadget Nationals, Rico Abreu gets $102,026. Really an odd number, but
it's not.
It's redeemed. I know what
26 is all over it. Come on.
I know. I get it. But
I mean, 262,000 would be better yet.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's got more 2s and 6s to it.
I'm sure Rico wanted that, but Rico Abreu, I thought best car at Skagit all weekend. He won one of the preliminary nights. He got by James McFadden in the finale. I thought James McFadden looked good. He's looked good that whole West Coast swing. He's now moved into the top 5 in owners points for a charter, with Brent Marks 5th and Corey Day on the outside looking in because of some not so good performances on the West Coast outside of the Gold Cup. But it's all about Rico Abreu out there. He looked good. He collects the biggest win of his career. Another major win for Ricky Warner and that team. And Rico he's hitting on all cylinders right now. He looks good.
Yeah, I thought their car looked the best. I mean, he started splitting lap cars through the middle, and I'm like, oh, this is really favorable for Rico and Ricky. No, I felt like he had the best car. I feel like McFadden's really good right now too. I feel Corey Day's really good. I think Brad got more out of what Brad got better finishing position than where he's at yet. I feel like
I'd say that's accurate.
They're still missing something. I mean, they were better this weekend, but it was a combination of 3 races to get points and to get a finish, which we know that's his game. But Rico looks really comfortable. I think McFadden probably has the best. McFadden in California probably had the best car the whole time, the culmination of the whole trip. They found something and they were good the whole time. But Rico walks out of there with 102,000. So that makes that trip pretty damn good.
Yeah, and I think this has been a long time coming. Look, we've seen him lead the Tuscarora 50 and break a U-joint a couple times.
Yeah.
We've seen him, he was supposed to be one of the favorites at Knoxville. It didn't materialize. Kings Royal last year didn't materialize. Mm-hmm. This materialized. He looked really good from start to finish. And, it's good to see a different guy win a major race. I'm not going to call it a crown jewel. Okay, I'll go on that rant later.
Yeah, it's not a crown. If that's a crown jewel, then we got to look at some other stuff.
Yeah, it's not. Okay. It great atmosphere. I have crown jewel major.
Yes, it's a major by far. Just the money alone is the thing that puts it towards the crown jewel. But
correct.
I think the place looks, and I've never been there, and I just watched on TV. The place looks awesome. When they did a skyline of that track and Grays Harbor, dude, I wanted to fly out there so bad just to see, because it's beautiful. It looks absolutely breathtaking out there. Yeah, it might be a place that I need to check out on a vacation or something because that area looks cool.
We could take the podcast there next year.
All right, done deal.
So I might hold you to that.
Give me your credit card number for my phone ticket.
It is. That's how it goes. I might, you know what? I think about that.
All right. I would too. Dude, that place looks cool.
Yeah, no, I want to go to Skagit. I think, and it's really a nothing weekend around here. So I think Skagit might be a place, to go next year. I can cover the event. We can do
I got a great
podcasts.
idea, Jeremy. I've never been to Chico. We do an all-inclusive on Sprint Car Unlimited's checkbook from Chico to Skagit. What do you think of that? That sounds really good.
Yeah,
That sounds really good.
I
Done
figured
deal.
it would. I
That's
figured
where
it
we're
would.
going. Okay.
Another guy who looked really good out there is Trey Starks. Wins at Grays Harbor, won the first night at Skagit. Things didn't line up Friday. He had rear end trouble, and then obviously just couldn't make any headway in the finale on Saturday. But still, Trey Starks gets his first national series win outside of the prelim at Knoxville, which was a split field. Still, Trey Starks looked really good. And again, congratulations on the birth of his first child.
Yeah, great weekend for Trey. You think about the Friday night deal. Okay, Rico wins Friday night, but I'm pretty sure if Trey finishes where he was, he's one of the top 4 in points. Rico's
Yes.
out of there. Now Rico's got to race his ass off in a heat race to get in the redraw. So think about the ramifications from that one dropout. I mean, I'm not saying Rico couldn't have won from 12th. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Rico
It's a
couldn't have won
lot
his
more
heat and been
difficult.
in the redraw. I'm not saying that either. But just think about the mind, like, you think, oh, Trey broke. He was going to be in the top 4 in points. He won his heat, whatever. But like, he was really good. Like his car, I would say his car looked the easiest to drive out of all the cars out there. I mean, his car looked really into the track. He could move around. He could run the middle when other guys couldn't. Like his stuff was operating out there. And congratulations to him. I think he said 12 days he's got a kid and 2 big wins. So
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty freaking cool for him. Nice. I really
One
got
of the
to know
nicest,
Trey.
nice
Yeah.
guys.
He ran in here quite a bit there in Gobrecht's car and got to know him a little bit there, but actually got to know him in Arizona when we were out there for that. And good kid. He's a hard worker. He's got his own machine shop and stuff now. Went from a lumber family to a machine shop. That doesn't happen very often. So pretty cool.
Yep. Sprint car driver, lumber company,
machinist extraordinaire.
Yeah. So, no, he is a nice guy. Rico Aber, same thing. Really, really super nice guy.
Rico's great for racing right now. He is
fantastic.
Some of the stuff he's doing. A buddy of mine, I don't even know. A buddy of mine gets these texts from him. He went in a raffle for a sideboard or something, and he gets texts like every time Rico's going to, like, he is. It must be like this fan club thing. I don't know. So I think Rico's way ahead of everybody in that department.
Like, it's great ahead for the sport. That's Last night, Huset's. You mentioned McFadden being really good. There's another 83 who's been really good the last couple weeks, and he's really good at Huset's.
Really good at Huset's.
And he turned it into a $100,000 high bank national score last night, and his name is Buddy Kofoid.
And he's from California.
He is from California. So is Rico. But these guys just keep winning, Ryan. It's not going to stop.
I hear it. I hear it.
Buddy Kofoid gets I did a 90 at 9 on it. We're taping this on Monday. I have some stuff later, so I will not be at the Labor Day Classic. Ryan never goes to the Labor Day Classic if he can help it. And we want to get the podcast out. We each have busy weeks, and I did a 90 at 9. I think it's a signature win, not only for the driver, but for the team. And first for Buddy, obviously, biggest win of his career, puts him over $300,000 this year. He only had 1 win coming into this year. It's been close a lot, but he's been on kind of a heater the last couple weeks because his lowest finish is 4th. But we mentioned the other 83. Both those cars are good in dirty air. Buddy on Friday and Saturday night passed 20 cars in feature action to finish 2nd and 4th. Last night, he only had to pass 1. He passed Carson MSO.
Had to pass him twice. It was good. It was good action. Good action in the front. Yeah, it was exciting. Let's say that.
Oh, the one slider was very sketchy.
It was. If Buddy, listen, it was for 100,000. If Buddy would have had a rough Carson up a little bit, he had the IOU, I think, to do it.
Yeah.
But No, it was good. Like the last lap, I can't even believe Carson made it as close as he did. We were watching it, and I felt like we were kind of counting the laps down. He ain't going to get in lap traffic. Oh yeah, no, he's going to get in lap traffic. This isn't going to be good. And then I still felt going down the back straightaway. I'm like, okay, he's got it. And then out of nowhere, Carson comes across, and I mean, he cleared him, but he was going so fast, so far across that he actually couldn't get woed up enough, tag the wall. Buddy turned under him, and Buddy beat him back to the line by at least a car length. But it was definitely, I didn't see the bomb coming at the end. I just didn't think Carson could get there, and he did. He made a race out of it. But yeah, Buddy has been really, really. Huset's it might be Buddy's best track that I've seen him race at.
No, I agree.
Like he's always consistent. He always passes cars. No matter how bad it starts, he always finishes good there. Yeah, great track for him.
And that car, he made the comment on an interview I saw the previous night. He doesn't feel the dirty air in that car. So whatever they're doing or whatever package they have, I think it's going to pay off on the West Coast. I think he's going to win more. I don't think it's done this year, but I think
I think he's got a good enough car right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a signature win for Roth. This is Roth's second six-figure payday. When was the first? Trivia time.
Knoxville Nationals, Lasowski.
Yep. 1998. Yeah. Look at you. Look at you.
I wasn't sure if it was six-figure then yet.
Yes.
That's why.
100,095, I believe.
Okay.
It also is the first major that they've won since 2014 when Gravel won a crown jewel at Williams Grove National Open.
Williams Grove, yeah.
So
first major for Toyota too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that's pretty big. I think that's pretty big right now. Buddy was probably going to win the big race there last year and broke a motor leading.
Oh, no doubt.
Pretty much going away. No doubt.
No doubt. Might have won the Tuscarora 50 too.
Yes. So whatever the Toyota guys are doing is definitely, they're definitely getting. Now, with that being said, James had a change of motor this past week, but they're definitely getting longer life, and they're not giving up races like they did a year and a half ago. So I'd say that program is on the certainly on the uptick. They time well. They're right there. I mean, I think that motor is definitely becoming maybe something that's close to ready for production, maybe. And I'm speaking out of my own terms there, but I see the longevity of it. Yeah. They're not getting 3 or 4 races out of them like they used to. It seems like it's definitely, they're getting closer to a 10 race, 12 race cycle. So that would be great if they could get even more, for the average Joe that would possibly try to buy that motor. But yeah, Toyota, big win for Toyota, big win for Roth. Kind of like a couple years ago, everybody was all on the Toyota train, and then everybody kind of got off of it, and Roth scooped it up and went through some trials and tribulations, but right now it's paying off.
I think it's a big win for crew chief Dylan Boswell as well.
Oh, for sure.
I hear a lot of good things about him.
Yeah. His car looks good.
Another car that looked decent last night, Anthony Macker. And you were turning the wrenches last night, so kudos to you. But Anthony, after a really bad weekend that we talked about a couple weeks ago, where just nothing went right. It wasn't that they didn't have speed. Yeah. Just nothing went right. Since then, 3 wins.
I was going to say, hasn't lost one.
Hasn't lost since. And that's bad news for the competition heading into this week's Tuscarora 50.
Well, we talked about this last week too. And I feel like that weekend that they had bad luck, there was speed there. So it's not like you didn't finish because you didn't have speed. There was speed behind all that mess. There was still speed there. So basically, since they've come home from Knoxville, they've been on it. Yeah.
Well, and he wins $20,000 again in the Kevin Gobrecht Memorial Race last night at Lincoln Speedway, which was Sunday. $317,000 in earnings, 15 wins. I said this at the beginning of the year. He's going to win 20 or get damn close, and he's going to have another solid earnings year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when you get over 300 and you're primarily in Pennsylvania, primarily, that's a hell of a good year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he has a Tuscarora 50 like he's capable of having, you have Selinsgrove coming up with the Outlaws. That'll be favorable for him.
Bats is 10 grand.
National Open, he's been really good at the National Open the last couple of years too. So, I mean, nothing's out of the realm of possibilities there. I mean, big races coming up, big money. Yeah, I can, 400's not out of possibilities.
No, no. In fact, I think
solid,
he gets her.
Like
I think he gets her.
Like it's been a year and a half or a year and a half probably since I worked with him last time. Maybe it's probably closing on 2 years, honestly, since we did the run 2 years ago. Just his improvement. He carries the car. Like I feel like he had a pretty good car last night. I don't feel like he had a car that was head and shoulders above everybody. But he does a great job carrying the car anymore compared to where it's that experience you gain, and he does a really good job behind the wheel. Like it made my job easier. And obviously Joe gave me a playbook to go by, and I basically try to not screw it up, put a little fix what the problem is that night, because every night's a different night. Here's where we start, here's where we end, and, do what you got to do in between. And, Joe he's got a great system going there right now, and it makes it, he's got a drivable car every night. That makes it kind of easy because you're in a box that's drivable every night. So then you just got to fine tune it from there, and we're able to get it close enough for Anthony to take it.
Well, he did that.
Yeah.
Kale Thomas, Pete Jacobs Memorial at Wayne County last night. Kale Thomas has quietly had a pretty good year. That was his 8th win. He's over $86,000. I mean, I know but it's in Ohio. He's basically running the Ohio scene, and he's been the best guy in the Buckeye State this year, and he showed it again last night.
No, their program, I'm assuming he was in the 23 car again.
Yep, he's in the 23.
Yeah, their program is pretty nice. He's probably been the most consistent car in Ohio. I'd say between him and Cap Henry. They've been the 2 most consistent cars, fastest, on the most consistent, time. They've been good, and 8 wins is good. You got to realize you don't have 30 races of the All-Stars in Ohio anymore. Or maybe not 30, 20.
Right.
Like a normal All-Star season is very heavy for the Ohio area. You don't have them anymore. So these guys are making up $10,000 to Pete Jacobs Memorial. That's fantastic payoff. And yeah, Kale Thomas has been good.
No, he's been decent. Joel Myers Jr. had a good week. Swept IRA, wanted to mention him. He's a California guy, by the way. Just spitballing there. Plymouth Dirt Track, Sheboygan County Fairgrounds, and then the Hill Raceway, which I've never heard of that track. But he gets the win and sweeps the weekend. And also, Jock Goodyear. It's been a rough 410 experience for him in California and up in Washington. He left and went back to Placerville and gets the win in the Works Unlimited machine at Placerville, 360 win. I guess it was worth it was over $7,000. So it was a NorCal posse shootout. He gets the win. A much needed win for the Australian.
Yeah, no, it looked kind of bleak there with the 410 and they weren't super competitive in a good car. Obviously way different conditions and situations than he's used to in Australia, I'm sure. And then go back, and I woke up this morning and saw that he'd won, and I was like, well, he got a win on US soil. So that's good for him. Jeremy, one guy that we didn't talk about, and we haven't talked about him a whole lot this year, and I think this whole outlaw split has done him. He probably made the biggest, wisest decision at all of them. Bill Baylog runs 3rd at Huset's.
Yeah.
And he has been fast. There's races where he is super fast. But you think about, if this split doesn't happen, Bill doesn't have the All-Stars, he's probably not traveling. And I mean, me and another guy were talking about last night. I said, the other guy actually pointed out, like, this split has been the perfect situation for Bill Baylog, and he's taken advantage of it. Like, he's got a fast race car and does a good job.
I hear a lot of, and it's funny, with high limit, there's pros and cons as far as sprint car racing in general. Obviously, your outlaw fields aren't as stacked, obviously.
Yeah.
Because you lost some guys. But what it's done is it's allowed more guys to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to be our 90 at 9 for Tuesday. I mean, obviously it'll be before everybody sees this, but the money's better.
Yeah.
The money is better.
Yeah.
So, and that's a direct reflection on high limit, and more guys are earning better money. So
I think more guys are now capable of earning more money, which is it's good. It's good for a guy like Bill. If Bill doesn't tear up a bunch of cars there,
Yep.
like in that area around Eldora, the Kings Royal, I mean, Bill's got a real nice year going. He really does.
Right. And it makes him a better driver.
Oh, absolutely. If he goes back and runs IRA for a year,
wax him.
Jesus. He was waxing him before. It'll be destruction now.
Yeah, and I think people lose sight of that sometimes, and that's definitely something I'm going to be writing back about in the future. But that's going to wrap up segment 1, SprintCarLimited.com podcast presented by Moose's LZ Bar and Grill in Jonestown, PA, and we'll be back in segment 2. Stay tuned.
Capital Custom Trailers and Coaches. We are the #1 Renegade Toter Home dealer and the #1 Intech and Bravo Sprint Car Trailer dealer. No one sells more toter homes and sprint car trailers than we do. Check out our complete lineup at capitalrenegade.com. If you're in the market for a toter home or a trailer, trust the people that are in the pits with you and that support the sport.
Welcome to segment 2, SprintCarLimited.com podcast presented by Moose's LZ Bar and Grill in Jonestown, PA. Joining us on the phone is Logan Wagner, who's on a bit of a heater at Port Royal, won the Labor Day Classic. Logan, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Obviously, it's a busy day. It's the first night of the Tuscarora 50 week, so we'll get you in and get you out. But you're looking pretty good at Port Royal lately. You won 4 out of 6, and the one you didn't win, you probably win. One of the ones you would have won was because you ran out of fuel while leading. So have you guys just found something at Port Royal recently, or just things going your way? What's going on up there?
Yeah, I mean, I like I told Donald, I felt like when we get on a roll and we get to running good, that roll will just continue and it'll snowball. So, when we got the first win, second win, third, then we started to get rolling pretty good and really starting to figure each other out. It's still pretty early in our relationship. It's we've raced together for probably 6 months total. So yeah, I feel like we're just starting to get everything working, and like Donald's getting used to the way I drive, and I'm getting used to the car and getting used to working with Davey Brown, which is a pleasure, huge pleasure. But yeah, we just got rolling, and I really feel like that number should be 8 for 8 right now. The one race we were, if I could have, should have, woulda, but the one race we were running well, and someone else's unfortunate event caused our demise, and blew a power steering line for the 22,000 Sandy Klein Memorial, Jim Klein Memorial race, and then even going into the Dream race. We had an unfortunate series of events happen where 3 other people ran out of fuel, and we were one of them. So I felt like that could have been 2 wins back to back, but really happy with where we're at, stability in the car and drivability in the car, and how well we're meshing with the team, and how much fun we're having. I knew when we started clicking off wins, we would start to have fun, but man, leading into the Tuscarora 50, I feel like we're all just ready to go, chomping at the bit.
So when you hook up with Don Kreitz Jr. and Davey Brown, what's that like for a younger, I'd say a younger driver? Like, I mean, you're not young, especially by California standards, but you're not old either. And it's kind of a different situation with them. What's that experience been like for you, learning from them and being around guys who, let's face it, they're in a National Sprint Car Hall of Fame for a reason?
Yeah, every one of them, right? I mean, like, I have big shoes to fill. And like when I walked in there, I told everyone, I said, look, I'm no Lance DeWeese. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to try to be him. The bar was really high stepping into that car. So I just feel like we just need to make it our own. But I mean, it's a pleasure to work with Davey Brown. I mean, I'm talking about the best crew chief of all time. And arguably some would agree, some wouldn't, but I think the majority would. So to be able to work with him, a lot of it's just shut your mouth, Logan, and listen, because I have a lot to learn from these guys. They've forgot more than I'll ever know. And that's a fact. So yeah, I'm young. I'm 33 compared to the age of Davey at 90 and Donald and the rest of the crew. But I think what I can gain out of it more than anything is just listening and learning on how they diagnose a car or adjust a car in relationship to maybe how Zemco did or I did. So it's really cool to put all the pieces of the puzzle together and then ultimately get wins out of it. And it gives you that extra drive leading into the 50, to be able to work with guys like that.
How did you have to maybe adjust your driving style or adjust things with how you do things to kind of make this work?
As far as like how I drive our work or just through my work in relationship. Sorry, what was the question?
I would say both, from a driving standpoint and from a being in the pit area standpoint.
Yeah. Driving standpoint, I feel like the car, the car's consistent throughout. When I stepped in one Kreitz car, it didn't matter if it was the third car, fourth car, or the second car we're running. Characteristically, I feel like they're going to feel the same, much like when I stepped into a Zemco car. Very predictable. So, it's the versatility that the car has, whether the track's dirty and slick or the top's good or the bottom's good. I knew if the car could rotate around the bottom with Lance, it could rotate against the wall. And here we are going into the Tuscarora 50, and the car does just that. So it was everything I thought it would be, but better. So, yeah, that's a lot of fun. But, yeah, trying to juggle everything involved in racing and flying is it's been challenging, and people don't understand it, which they don't need to. But like prime example, tomorrow morning I'm gonna check out of Port Royal Speedway and go to Youngstown, Ohio, and pick up our airplane, fly it home, and then come back, and we're gonna race that night. So I'm adjusting my sleep patterns today to accommodate that tomorrow. So I don't fall short in the race car, and I don't fall short as a pilot. So yeah, a lot of my job is juggling family, racing, and flying. And I feel like we all do a good job of it. Like I get to spend a lot of time with my kids, and I get to spend a good bit of time behind the wheel, and flying comes priority. So that's a very enjoyable career. So it's a juggling game that a lot of people don't quite understand, nor should they. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when my wife and I'm happy and my kids are happy, that's really all that matters. So.
Donnie Schatz flies.
Yeah.
You fly. I'm amazed by this because, I hear it all the time from pilots. It's like a big grid of highways in the sky. I don't really understand that.
Yeah.
You can't see it.
So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So kind of, if you could, to somebody like me, a layman, somebody who doesn't understand that, is it difficult to fly? I mean, I know you do it for a living. So, I mean, what's it like and how do you know where to go?
Yeah. So, there's a lot of different challenges, right? Like first thing, you have to be a meteorologist. You have to understand the weather and what the weather's doing to fly through it. And then also airspace and what you're flying into. And then also you have to be a lawyer to identify what the rules and regulations are through this FAR-AIM book that's about 5,000 pages. So there's every different aspect of aviation that can be very challenging outside of just flying, but a very rewarding career. The things you're talking about in the air, they could be Victor Airways or just GPS fixes from fix to fix you fly. That can get you the most efficient route possible. But these routes change depending on weather and other variables that we talked about. But yeah, really, I could take off in almost no visibility right after wheels up to 200-foot ceilings on touchdowns. So yeah, you really don't need to be able to see. I have all my gauges, and as long as the box, which is the like the FMS, is programmed correctly, I can utilize that for guidance.
Is it scary? up there? I mean, I know I fly. I don't mind flying, but I don't have people's lives in my hands.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like I've done it for so long. I've flown for 12 years charter, and then here last 2 years. So I've like, I don't know, roughly 8,000 hours in the airplane. So it no, it's I can get in my car and flip switches and drive off and go to Bedford just like you can. And then you get in the airplane, it's the same way. It's muscle memory. You know, we don't think about stepping in the race car and turning left. We just do that, you know. So when you're thinking about aviation, you don't think about getting in the airplane and taxiing and pushing on the right rudder to turn right, you know. So you just do those things, and years of experience of, you know, things are going to become more fluent and efficient, and I feel like that's where we're at now with racing, driving, and really everything on that side.
What made you become a pilot? I don't know if anybody's really ever asked you that. What made you take that route as a career?
I was 3 months from graduating high school, and I was enrolled in like the Art Institute of Pittsburgh for industrial design, AutoCAD. And while that would have been rewarding, I didn't want to sit behind a computer all day. And I was like, I like to travel. So I was looking into maintenance, being like an airplane mechanic. And I
Mhm.
said, screw that. If I'm going to do that, I might as well fly them. And people were like, you can't fly an airplane, Logan. I'm like, well, why? Why can't I? Just because you can't fly one doesn't mean I can. So I've always had a lot of drive off of people doubting or underestimating. Um, so really, I think that's really what's kept me in it. You know, that the people's, you know, mindset, or someone else's mindset to doubt that. Um, and in that drive when I got down to Florida for a year and a half, it was much like a boot camp, 6 days a week, flying nonstop. So they weeded us out from 21 students down to 3 or 4 by the end of that year, and I was one of them. So I went through a really accelerated program down there, and it paid dividends. I come back and started flying in Bedford in 2009 and 9, 10, and yeah, been doing it ever since.
So in the race car, people have doubted you there at times. And
Sure.
in 2021, you won the Tuscarora 50. One of the biggest races in this area, the biggest race at Port Royal. What was that like? What to break through and win the Tuscarora 50? Obviously, the money was good. We all know about that. It wasn't 10,000 at the time, but the prestige of that event in front of the crowd, uh, passing, you know, I guess Lance to do it. I mean, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it, going into that day, I want to win the Tuscarora 50. I believe I can win the Tuscarora 50 going into that day, but I've never won the Tuscarora 50, so it's hard to envision yourself in that state after the race, like in victory lane, to manifest that. So it's something that I've never done. But when I did win that, and when I passed him through 3 and 4, and I sealed the deal. We went under the checkers. I just remember everyone in the infield. You know, it doesn't matter whether you hate me the week before or what. This week we just beat high limit, right? So now all the people that were booing maybe the week before are pretty jacked up because I won. But I just remember it being very electric in the infield and pulling in, and people in their coolers the whole way around the inside of the fence. And it like that core group of PA posse members, right? That those fans that die hard. I just remember everyone being so excited for me. You know, it was my first one, right? And they were really jacked up. So, you know, going into this year, I'm sure we'll have that same rivalry with the high limit and PA posse, which is huge for the sport. And hopefully we have a really good crowd and get out to Port Royal and pull for the PA posse. I think Brad Sweet said that he was coming to take our money, but I think he owns High Limit, and I think we'll take his money.
Well, the other thing is he needs to be better at Port Royal. He hasn't been too good there lately. But how hard is that race for a driver? It's 50 laps. I mean, obviously 2 segments, but still, is it a difficult race to run? Not like your every day or every week deal that's 30 laps. How's it different? How's it more grueling?
Yeah, you need a perfect night. Like prime example, Macker in the heat race, I think it was last year, caught whoever's right rear and spun out. That positioned him further back then. So you need to check all the boxes from the time when like you unload, warm ups to heat race to feet to time trial, heat race, dash, feature, whatever it is. So like to check the boxes, if you have one mishap, like we blew an engine last year, and I feel like that killed our chances. And you have to cross it off in segments. You can't look at the whole 50 laps as a feature. You have to cross it off as the first 10 laps, second 10 laps, third 10 laps, fourth 10 laps, and then the last. So when you get to that last 10 laps, I feel like in the 50, that's when you're going to start to see guys either fold under pressure or bite under pressure. And that's always the most interesting time of the night, when you can have a guy out there in the track completely gone away, maybe clean to the wall. So are their tires, so are their equipment, and their mindset is just, maybe the nerves are getting the best of them. And I feel like that's when you're going to see guys excel in those last 10 laps of that feature.
Obviously, you're going in, it's Thursday night and then Friday night. Every race is important, but do you kind of, and you're already in a good streak now, Port Royal. Do you kind of approach the first two nights? I don't want to say cautiously keeping everything together, the car together, not cracking anything up. Are you cautious so you have everything together for the 50? Maybe taking some notes on the track and stuff. How do you approach the first two nights as opposed to the last night?
I studied the track regardless. I stay up there at Port Royal. We have a permanent site. So on Sundays, after a race, I'll go down and check it out and do everything I need to do on my tests for the track, on where it went away and where it come to. It even comes down to really degreeing every single corner. So what my preparation or my mindset going in is no different than really any other week. I'm not saving anything. I'm going to pull the trigger when I need to pull the trigger. It's going to be my decision, right, when that trigger's pulled. So it sort of comes down to me in that sense on how much we're going to pressure it in the car. But I have no reason to not pressure it like I have been the last 8 weeks. I'm not going to go in there and conserve it. If that's sort of what you're getting at. Now it's gloves off. Donald has another car back in the shop. I hope we don't need to use that, but we're ready. We're ready to go, and as we should be. It's Tuscarora 50 time. We don't pull the reins back. We lean forward.
Last thing, you got to feel better going into this Tuscarora 50, coming off the wins, the way the car's been. You're dialed in than almost any point in your career.
Yeah. I do feel like I'm in the best opportunity right now with myself, with the team, with everything we have to have speed here for the next 3 nights. So, I'm very, very, very excited, to get that car on the track today. Right. So, I'm excited to run 3 nights in a row. I feel like by even the 3rd night, I'm going to be a better driver just because we're so consistent. We're so consistent with running. So, yeah, I'm anxious for that final night.
Well, Logan, we're going to let you get back after it. I appreciate you taking time out on Thursday morning to be on the show, and we'll see you up at Port Royal, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Jeremy. Have a good day.
Yep. Take care.
See you.
Welcome to segment 3, SprintCarLimited.com podcast presented by Moose's LZ Bar and Grill in Jonestown, PA. Ryan, we're going to play a little hot knot. We haven't done it for a while. And since in honor of your win yesterday, your team's win, I'm going to let you go first.
Boy, should I just get my hot out of the way? Because I'm after that. It's
Oh yeah,
ugly.
you're negative Nelly today.
I'll go 1-1-1.
Okay, there you go.
Not hot right now, David Gravel.
It's accurate.
Yeah.
And we thought he wouldn't make this list this year.
July 28th is the last. Yeah. July 28th is the last. He couldn't lose that week. He couldn't do anything wrong that week. And since then, he hasn't won a race in August, which is surprising because Knoxville, he was kind of the favorite going into Knoxville. Obviously, Huset's is very favorable, won that last year. In the last 5 races, he hasn't been in the top 5, Jeremy. This is David Gravel.
No.
And 3 of them were at Huset's.
I know.
favorable tracks for him. Not hot right now. Yes, as good as he was going, isn't this something about sprint car racing though? Like we did not see this coming.
No.
And it's been a month since he's won a race.
We were talking about him having one of those years that you remember where he could win all the crown jewels.
All the crown jewels.
He got nowhere close winning Knoxville. He's never a factor. Obviously struggled during it just didn't work out. And now it's just carried over into everything else. And Huset's not a factor.
No.
Didn't time well.
That is the alarming part right now to me is he is not timing well. He couldn't do anything wrong timing. There was times when he'd come out at, I think Williams Grove, he came out very, 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 very late, or else it was Eldora.
Yep.
Very late and just absolutely put a killer lap down that no one was even close to, put him right back in the game for the rest of the night.
That was Eldora.
Like nobody was even close to his lap, put him right in the game. Now he can't time trial like the way he was, and look how much harder it makes your night. So yeah, David Gravel is a not hot right now.
Well, I'm gonna go hot.
Wait, with that being said, he still has over 100-point lead.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute, because another driver on my list just can't make up ground, even though he's on a heater. But I'm going to start with Buddy Kofoid. You knew I was going here, but there's a reason for it. It's not just a High Bank Nationals win. That's nice. He was on an 18-race streak of not finishing in the top 5 at one point. Now, in his last 5 races, 5 straight top 5s, 4 podiums, and gets the win in the High Bank Nationals. They've turned that ever since they junked a car at Eagle. They have struggled. That seems to be gone. They seem to be back on track. And for Kofoid, it's the perfect time. Wins the High Bank Nationals. Coming to Tulare, a place where he won the Trophy Cup.
Yeah.
He is going to be a serious threat at Tulare and on that whole West Coast swing. It's his backyard. Again, I think Buddy Kofoid, they're putting something together. They're going to be a handful. He's 5th in points for his first year. Not bad. So I'm going Buddy Kofoid hot. Who do you got?
There you go. Nah, you can go with another one. Go ahead.
I'm going to go not hot. Tyler Courtney. This is another guy I never thought would be on the not hot list. But his last 8 races, he only has 2 top 10s and his average finish is 16.375. And Brad Sweet's not hot. He didn't make either of our lists this week, but he extended his lead to 200 points because Tyler Courtney has just been that bad. Now, it's not all his fault. At Gadget, people just kept spinning out in front of him, and he kind of got in everybody else's mess. But even when he'd go to the back, just couldn't pass cars. They just haven't been good. And that's why he's not hot. Now, look for him to turn that around this week at Port Royal, because boy, is he good at Port Royal.
Yeah, I kind of have a theory on the whole Tyler Courtney not hot thing. As soon as they left the area, as soon as they went to an area where they really don't have a notebook, because the All-Stars went all the way out to I-70 and all that stuff where he was really strong.
That's a good point.
Area. Now we're out past there where these other guys that have run the Outlaws all have been to all these tracks up there, California up there. They all have notebooks for this. They've all seen these tracks, and the 7BC is going there for the first time to a lot of these places. The notebook's not there. It is building. But you said about, being a victim of circumstance, but here's the problem. when you put yourself in a bad position early in the night, it's much easier to be a victim of circumstances as you're trying to work your way through the field. So, I'm like you. I expect this week to wake them back up. Port Royal is super favorable for them. They're very good there. They have a great notebook for there, I'm sure. I'd say that train gets turned around this weekend.
Agreed. You're up next.
I'm gonna go. I'll tell you what. I'll go with a hot. We're gonna stay on the Roth. We're gonna stay on the Roth wagon. James McFadden. Every race in the West Coast is in the top 10. Some nights didn't start there.
No.
And came through.
No.
Some nights look awfully. They had a motor issue there the one night, and he was in a great position that night too, because I think he was fast qualifier in his heat. All he would have to do was finish 5th. They hurt a motor, has to run the B main, starts in the back, works his way back up. Really, really, really solid car. I feel like right now, the West Coast swing, I feel like James McFadden had the most solid car watching his race car out of all the guys in high limit. The only guy I felt that had probably a better race car, and it was just for the Washington races, was Trey Starks.
And
but
Rico.
Their tracks. But I'm talking of guys that ran the whole West Coast swing. I think James had a better car than Rico the whole time.
Yes.
I think Rico won the big race at the end, but James was second, whatever. So they're on a heater. They're going good. They're up to, you said car owner up to 4th in points. And we got to remember, Dominic ran the first 6 races of high limit.
Yeah.
And they were not good at all.
Seven top 10. See, he has 7 top 5s in the last 10 races out there. That's pretty good. And like, he's 4th in owner's points. That's charter territory. We don't know what it is yet.
That's what everybody's looking for. Charters, man.
We don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
But it's a good spot for Roth.
Yeah.
So finish up.
Great resurgence for Roth. I mean, honestly, the last couple years, it's been honestly a question mark car. The Roth cars have been, it's like, why are you running 2 when 1's not great? Now they have 2 that are operating pretty well right now.
And they have 2 good drivers.
Yeah.
Which I think is I just think things are looking up for Roth. Take us home with your last one.
My last one, not hot. I got to come back here to PA, and it's an obvious one, Jeremy. One win this year. Led the country in wins last year, I believe.
17.
He has won this year. Freddy Raymer hasn't won since March 22nd, I believe, and that was at Williams Grove.
Yeah.
13 wins at Lincoln, and honestly, hasn't been really in contention to win at Lincoln this year. Lincoln's had a lot more time trial races, a lot more big races, big money races. And Freddie seemed to shine when they did the weekly stuff coming from the back. He could get really knifed through the field, won a lot of those races. But this year, Lincoln's put up a lot of big shows where they're qualifying, and Freddie's not qualifying. He timed 14th last night. He went out 2 cars after the fast timer and timed 14th last night.
They just don't have speed
putting
to qualify.
that's putting him in a huge deficit to start the night, and it's tough. It's tough to pass cars, and they're really not getting it done. I didn't see this coming. I honestly thought Freddie would have another 10-year. I didn't see a 17 win season. I didn't see that. I saw another 10-year win. 10 win year. I saw that. But 1 win.
And none at Lincoln. He had 14 at Lincoln last year.
None at Lincoln. This kind of reminds me, there was a year where Big Fred.
Yep.
I don't know that he won a race at Lincoln the one year. It was unfathomable. Fred won double-digit races every year at Lincoln for as long as you can remember, and didn't win a race one year at Lincoln. This is kind of that deal. It's really weird.
44 race losing streak for Freddy Roth.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I
didn't see it coming.
No, and it's not going to change at Port Royal because he's awful.
Oh God, no.
I'm sorry, but it's just. I'm gonna wrap it up with my last one. It's Carson MSO. It's like a combination hot, not hot. Hear me out. MSO, last 14 races, 10 podiums, 4 wins. Really good.
It's pretty hot.
That's pretty hot. Had a shot last night to win $100,000.
Yeah.
So Carson MSO, looks really good. We've talked about it all year, how he's struggling, this and that. I did a 90 at 9 last week. He actually has more. He's finishing in the top 5 at a higher rate than he did last year. He just had lulls at play when he had his lulls like at Volusia and Eldora, they were huge.
Huge.
So people focused on it more. But he's actually finishing in the top 5 at a higher rate. He's on pace he has 7 wins. He could hit 9, which is what he had last year. I think he hits it.
Yeah, I think he does too.
Now here's the not hot. The World of Outlaw point standings. Let's put some points in between the positions. He's beaten David Gravel every night almost for the last 10 races, and he's still 114 out.
How many of the outlaw shows here lately, like when they have a special show, how many of them are full point races though? I think that's something that gets lost because when they do a different format, they don't always count those races as full point races. And sometimes a guy like Macedo, second in points, shines at these. David runs 8th, and we don't see a big point change. And I think we overlook the fact that maybe there's not even points given that night. It might only be a show up point race.
I think the high
I don't know.
nationals will show up. But see, here's the problem.
Yeah.
And this is what I like about High Limit. All those shows at Skagit, as long as they're not a split field, the format doesn't matter. They're full points.
Doesn't matter. You're still out there for one object. That's to win the race.
Yes. The
So
Outlaws,
let's get after it. Let's go.
If the format is different,
They don't count it.
they don't count it. And again, I
I
struggle.
totally understand the split field. Totally
Yes.
understand not
Yes.
counting the points for that.
Yes.
Get it. But when we're all racing together in one night, it shouldn't matter if we're drawing tiddlywinks or bingo cards for where you start. It shouldn't matter. The goal at the end of that night is to finish first.
Yeah, but it's 2 points between each position.
Yeah. Takes forever to make anything up.
It's terrible. They got to redo it. I want to shuffle the World of Outlaw points.
Sounds like a little bit of a show coming up here shortly on the point systems.
It could be. So, but that's going to wrap up segment 3, SprintCarLimited.com podcast presented by Moose's LZ Bar and Grill in Jonestown, PA. We'll be back in segment 4 with the picks. Stay tuned.
Capital Custom Trailers and Coaches. We are the #1 Renegade Toterhome dealer and the #1 Intech and Bravo Sprint Car Trailer dealer. No one sells more Toterhomes and Sprint Car Trailers than we do. Check out our complete lineup at capitalrenegade.com. If you're in the market for a Toterhome or a trailer, trust the people that are in the pits with you and that support the sport.
Welcome back to our 4th and final segment, SprintCarLimited.com podcast presented by Moose's LZ Bar and Grill in Jonestown, PA. Great food at a great price. Check them out. It's the picks. And as of now, going into the Labor Day Classic at Port Royal, I've lost 29 spots. This is starting to make me nervous. I'm looking pretty good across the board everywhere else, but I'm not liking this 29. I'm hoping Mike Wagner pulls some out for me today.
So are you still leading in the plus minus?
I am still leading in the plus minus.
By how much? I don't know. I haven't been paying attention.
I think it's like, if you take I think it's like 15, something like that.
So I could make all that up today, maybe.
Oh,
when you win as much as I do in the picks, Jeremy, year to year,
is that what we're going? Is this what we're going?
Yeah.
This is what we're going.
It'll take care of itself. It'll take care of itself. It averages out, and then I'll be, it'll be fine.
This is what we're going with.
Yes.
You can't help yourself.
I got to stay positive.
Positive? You gotta be kidding me.
Look what just happened to you this week, bud.
It wasn't good. Actually,
there wasn't a USAC race on the schedule, and everything worked out just the way it was supposed to.
Actually, you have taken the lead. I just checked.
See that?
You have taken
now,
lead. So
now something miraculous happened. We're probably picking a USAC night that ain't even happening this week.
No, stop it. all this isn't the Outlaws. All races count. So we have the Tuscarora 50 first. It's 3 nights of fun and frolic at Port Royal Speedway. What doesn't look good is Friday and Saturday night's weather. Hopefully that breaks, because God, I don't like missing the NFL Sunday season openers. That throws me off.
I
Ryan.
hate when tracks, well, this year has been shitty weather most of the year anyways, but I hate it when the track's biggest races of the year have weather that are really going to play a
Yeah.
factor. It's not just for the racetrack, but also for the crowd. Because let's face it, people now, the one thing they got going, the fair, people seem like they come
Yeah.
out for the fair regardless. They don't even know it's raining.
But it
Not a
ends
big
on
deal.
Saturday.
Yeah.
But the other thing is the racing itself. If that place is hammered down, it's going to suck. It just will. That's it. So, but Thursday looks good. Hopefully the rest clears out. So I picked first on Thursday night, and I'm going Anthony Macker right out of the gate. I'm not even hesitating. I'm playing the weather game. I need a big win right out of the gate.
Got it. Well, if you're going to play that game, I'm going to take. I'll take Rico.
Oh, and then you come back Friday.
Friday, I will take 7 BC.
Ooh. You're getting the 3 big dogs there too, because I took Macri first. But I'm planning on Friday.
You're planning on weather. You're planning on weather related issues.
On Friday, yes.
I got you.
So give me
So
Logan.
you really don't care who you pick.
No, Logan
Friday.
Wagner. I'll take Logan Wagner.
Wow, all the high limit guys.
Not high limit. You're taking all the high limit guys. Now, for the finale, I will be taking Tyler Courtney.
Well, I'm gonna take Macri. It's hard to beat. Hard to bet against him there. I mean, it'll be.
It is.
If it's not a win, it certainly should be a top 5 because they're solid there.
Yeah. World of Outlaws. They head to the West Coast. High limit leaves. Outlaws come in. And it's really kind of grueling for guys like Justin Sanders and Shane Golobic and those guys who, they're used to running their weekly stuff, and they had 10 races with high limit. Now you have the Outlaws coming in for some big shows. And I still say Justin Sanders gets a win somewhere against the National Series. He's looked good. Some things he can't spin the wheel for shit.
He's horrible. He had a little
terrible.
kid come up and spin it, and that kid couldn't spin it either. Yeah, no,
it doesn't matter.
That's devastating. Yeah,
there's.
But
30...
he's been solid. He's been solid. He really has. He's been solid. His car looks good. He's been doing a good job driving. He's been solid.
Yeah, but the Outlaws are at Stockton. I don't know what those track conditions are going to be like,
dude. When I saw Stockton, I'm like, that'll be who can get the lowest for the longest without messing up. Like, I remember watching that one race there this year. I just oh my God.
Well, you get first pick.
Please, Stockton, do a better job. Oh, who's going to start on the pole? Can you help me with that?
No, I can't help you with that.
It's kind of become a shithole. Like, unfortunately, I actually liked when it was the bigger track. Sometimes it was a little rough. Sometimes, but I've seen some better I've seen better racing on their medium-sized track than I did on this little thing. This thing's not cool. Man, who's gonna have the most? Who's gonna be the best and the slickest piece of shit there is?
Oh my!
Around the bottom.
You're a negative Nelly today. I love it.
Hey, it can only go up. Their track conditions can only get better from what
They've had a lot of time to work on it. That's for sure.
You know what? I'm going to go with, I watched Sanders run around the bottom there earlier in the year. Let's go with Sanders. He's got to break through on the National Series here. I think this is a favorable track for him. Maybe the bag will be better than the wheel.
Oh, that could be. I'm going to stick with Carson MSO.
Okay.
He seems to, and then King Speedway the next night. And this might be where Sanders does it. But Buddy has been so good. And Gio's out. Gio didn't look bad at Houston either.
No, Gio had it wasn't a splash. It wasn't a big splash. It was consistent.
And then it's when does David grab up? See, I'm saving Sanders for another race.
What, for the USAC race?
No, I mean for where I think he's going to win, but
I thought we only picked 2 outlaw races this week.
we
but
we
I could
do,
be
but
wrong.
but and by the way, I want Carson MSO, not Cole, just so you don't.
I got it.
Just so you don't confuse it. I'm gonna stick with Kofoid. I think that team's really good right now. I gotta. It was between Kofoid or Sanders, and
I'm going Carson MSO at Kings.
Okay.
Got laps there. I like it.
Yeah.
Hot right now. Hot.
Very, very hot. Then we go to USAC, where you just own it. Don't cry. USAC had a week off after SmackDown. They come back at RPM Speedway and then have 2 at Texarkana 67. And Ryan, you're up first.
Brady Bacon.
Big shock, big shock. Logan Seavey didn't win at SmackDown, so I'm going to grab him right out of the gate against your.
Good, thank you.
I know it gives you some leeway, and then I'll come back at Texarkana. You know, Justin Grant looked really good at Coco.
Take him, pick him, do whatever you want with him.
No.
I swear I will not pick him the rest of the season.
Oh, I know you're strongly against it. I'm going to take Bacon now. He's good.
I'm going. I'll go Seavey,
and then finish this up.
And then, man, I'm looking at a picture right here. And it's telling me CJ Leary. It really is. It's telling me CJ Leary.
Did you talk to somebody?
No, there's just a picture sitting here. There's a racing paper. There's 2 racing papers sitting on my table here for some reason.
Yeah.
And the top one is from I'll tell you what, it's from PA USAC PA Speed Week, and the cover's Leary. And it's telling me Leary. I just keep looking at it. It's telling me Leary.
I like it.
But
Grant.
No, it's not going to be Grant.
And people should, it's easy. We can't pick. We can only use a driver once throughout the whole week. Mm-hmm. So people need to know. So I think sometimes people wonder why we don't pick CV every race. Well, we can't. Can only use a guy once per week.
You know what? Give me Pursley in the 21 car.
Ah, nice. I'm going to take KTJ.
There you go.
He's
on a tiny bit of a heater.
Yeah, he looks pretty good.
He looked good. I think he was he probably going to win SmackDown? He broke or something the one night. He won one night and broke another. He was leading or something.
I think Grant really has a lock on that event. He's won it 2 years in a row.
He's got the turned up headers. That's what it is.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is. Yeah.
I think it doesn't mean crap.
There was one last night at Lincoln. Did you see it?
I know Campbell has it out. It's not up.
Somebody had it up last night. I forget. They pointed it out to me. I forget who it was.
Did they win?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You know why? They didn't have Kyle Larson driving it.
Or Justin Grant.
Yeah. Come on.
There you go.
You could turn him sideways.
Hey, Rico had him turned up.
You could turn him sideways.
Rico's got him turned up right now.
You still got to have a good driver. Still got to have a good crew chief, and you still got to be fast. That's it. So it's no trick to me. But that's going to wrap up this edition of the SprintCarLimited.com podcast presented by Moose's LZ Bar and Grill in Jonestown, PA. Great food at a great price. Stay tuned to SprintCarLimited.com all week for your sprint car needs. We also have our YouTube channel where we have content all week, and we'll be back next week with another show. Stay tuned.